Hello, how are you? Good morning. I hope you're good. You've seen today is a blessing, and I hope that this day will definitely be good for you. Welcome to the Cordelia Oatbe Recap, the recap. I'm Cordelia Oatbe, and do remember to follow on social media. The recap is also on YouTube. Check it out and see some of the content just put out recently. It's done differently there. And for today, what do we have for now? The tariff increment. Yes, from a different angle. Watch it on Cordelia Oatbe. You'll find it there, the recap. So what will be your name today?
Okay, today my name is Ada. Follow on side, please. Take it easy. If you stole anything last as 1 days, this one no.
Don't try it.
No try out because they will catch you.
And they'll catch you. But you may just is our guest online? Yeah. Okay, we have online with us. We're doing this remotely. She is an investigative journalist. She is a trainer. In fact, she be a looter inside the looter continuous. She herself, she is a looter. Ejiro Mukoro.
She's a girl.
That place now very close to my own house. So me I not be family, I be fridge. Me I be television and everything.
There, and we're going to start from a particular point. But before then, let's run to Tİ has banned the Nigerian police force from parading suspects. It don't say when they talk this thing. It don't say. But now they are saying, no, you must not do it. And they're saying, all right, they are trying to, obey. But there was a court ruling, and they said, you don't do it. But we still see them parading.
Even Lagos House of Assembly don't pass that law.
Upon now.
Yeah. EFCC they do them too.
Ejiro, how you see this news?
We're a stubborn breed of people.
I not join. Me not stubborn. I did try not to be stubborn.
I understand the reaction. I needed to put it like that so that people go understand. Say, as a collect one thing, way go make some people vex, but it also needs to make us choke ourselves more. So that yes, when you say apes obey, that apes obey. Nigeria turn out to obey.
Yes, now obey.
But it's actually apes obey.
Apes.
When those people, whether they call themselves, whatever they call themselves, those immigrants, we come Nigeria, we invaded this country. I like to call them invaders because that's what they were. When those invaders come this country, when they rape, they pillage, they destroy and everything, they understand the mindset of Africa. This is one thing we must understand. That these guys came to Africa, and one of the things they do, and that's what they do university, they look at a people and then they study a people. And one of the things that discovers us with Africans is that we have a very ignoratic, gullible and simplistic mindset. Where we say anybody tell us, say, do this now so they go do them. And then it takes a while for us to shift and change. It is hard for Africans to change. We need a quick and bold change because we don't understand, say, character development is an ongoing thing. As a matter of fact, one of our mindset for Africa, they say, I am, how do they talk that expression? They say, I am set in my ways. And we take pride in saying it, I am set in my ways. So, for example, this goes back to the issue of why the police, as an organization, is also a failed system in Nigeria because, one, professionalism is not actually the requirement for excellence. It's about anybody can be absorbed into the police system, such that the quality of people who are now coming are just riffraffs, majority of them, or unfortunately to say, I apologize if it offends anybody, but that is the reality because now with me, I don't study, I don't see. And then you now see a situation where you not only elevate people who can pay for their promotions. I did an investigation some time back, and the reason why that investigation was called to my attention was because people understood that I could take up an action, and when I bring it out, solutions come out. I was approached by members of the police officers, and they told me back then, they were paying 2 million naira for promotion.
Look at that.
2 million naira is a lot of money. So it means that now any riffraff, 90 pay money for promotion, and they could enter that position. Then I did a further investigation, and I discovered that many of the persons who are in very top positions, even in the police, right? Many of them, their mama and papa, now position that they bring them, some of them go to the country, but they earn salary. So when you see the recruitment process of how the police absorb people, there was an incident I even monitored not too long ago, about a few years ago, and one of the guy just went in, applied for the police recruitment, whatever. This guy is a criminal. He has a criminal record, and this guy was absorbed into the police. So there are checks and balances, their recruitment process and boundaries and placements, and even the way they go about, ensuring that these people are also properly investigated. They don't do due diligence. Okay. So any riffraff, now they enter that place. So that's part of the problem.
We will change them. Okay, we'll quickly run through one more, then we'll go straight to the topic for the day. And we have this one. America, don't they hear I'm hot? So I don't know what's going on. Well, luckily, all passengers and crew members on a flight which crashed and overturned while landing at Toronto Pearson Airport in Canada, those people, all of them survived. Thank God for them. And it's a wonder because how this all happened is a big, how do I call it, is a big shame. Toronto Pearson Airport said the crash involved a Delta Airlines flight arriving from Minneapolis, and of the 80 people on board, 76 were passengers and 4 were crew members, and the major injury was that of a child and 2 adults. They were critically injured. That is a thing crash. Then the plane can't tumble. It can't lie down for ground. It belly face up like fish when you don't die for water. And it's becoming a lot more than expected when we talk about air disasters now happening in that North America, should I call it, setting now, and one wonders what's going on. When you saw that news this morning, how did you feel?
I'm just happy people survived. It pleased me. And for the record, I'm glad that for a while now we've not even had incidents like that in Nigeria. So while it's easy for us to always condemn our country too, sometimes when they are also doing good, let us also commend them. Have we been lucky? Perhaps we have been lucky, but this also calls attention to the global issue of air safety and air management and professionalism in the job. There are some realities that are playing out too. So there are times when people actually say there is an internal self-sabotaging that could be happening strategically just to call attention to the poorness. Some people say, nah, the karma of Trump 94 long. Some people say that. Well, I am not in that camp yet. But that is a conversation. And when you see those kinds of conspiracy theories being thrown about, it actually behooves on you to go further and investigate. Don't dismiss too quickly. Just go further and investigate what's going on. Because sometimes when we talk about, it's like when people don't remember this man, I'm going to say in good faith, because of how his name has been so bastardized as if he's the only criminal that ever came out of Nigeria. Abacha said that when you see an insurgence that lasts more than 24 hours, right, know that the government is involved. That is what he said. So there's no insurgence or political craze or incidents that happen around the world today where you will not understand, where there might not be some underlying political conversation going on to bring attention to something. That's on the one side. Then the other side is we need to really begin to take air safety seriously. This is people's lives we're talking about. And especially more so in Nigeria, where they say they go by road now, it's a problem. There are no roads. There are no roads in a country that produces oil and gas, in a country with solar power, in a country that has the capacity of human beings that can go to the road and make a road work. So when you now have that, you leave people with the only option, which is air travel. And now air travel is cheap, it's expensive, it's crazy. Just this year alone, how much I've spent on air travel is mind-boggling, and it's not funny. So we need to come to a point where we begin to understand that, look, we have to develop a system where every form of transportation, water, air, land, train, all of them are working so that we have options and reduce the fatality instances that might be. And I hope that this matter will be investigated thoroughly and whatever decisions are taken properly.
So on the last note, before we take the passing, Osun State, Osun State was in the news, and the fire was so much so they nearly released Afrobeat music on top, because we don't know who called Davido put mouth inside. He was just talking and screaming, but eventually he apologized to the commissioner that, oh, sorry, I didn't know this man was having sleepless nights. Let's do this, let's do that. Well, the governor of the state has directed that residents should avoid the local government secretariats amid the violence alleged attempts by the All Progressive Congress APC to seize control of local government councils, and that takeover, as they have called it, failed, and it was rather sad, and he condemned the alleged takeover, that is the bid by the APC chairman and councillors, stating that 5 members of the People's Democratic Party PDP were killed and several others sustained injuries, and it's a very, very sad one, and we're looking forward to the day. Joseph, you saw this news.
Yeah, I saw it. I think people need to do research in Nigeria, whereby someone say want to serve you, and he say for him to serve you, he can keep people for him to serve you. Is the person actually coming to come and serve? Then I want political narrative that I was thinking that democratic system is where people will be elected or assign a role, but this one it become a must. It become a must, and when they are doing all these things, you see security agency, as in security agency that have that core role function to maintain law and order. Sometimes they assume this people say that they play juju music. So they look there, let them finish. It is later when now people then they kill you. Are you sure? They now start. So I think it is time for us to sit down, have conversation with almost all our policing agency. Is it until when they call you, when you see that another person want to kill another person in Nigeria, another person is taking the law into his hand, you say you are waiting for order from above? I don't know. I don't know. I think it's time for us to do research on that and see whether we actually, what other country can copy from us.
Hey, Jiro. Hello?
At the end of the day, it all boils down to money, power, and control. That's what is the conversation here. And a situation where, with the autonomy that local governments are beginning to have, it is also good to have a very vibrant opposition party. The reason is necessary because you have to query what's on ground so that whoever is in power also sits up. That said, it does not mean that we should condone forms of violence and forms of destruction and the tendency for Nigeria to prove, do you know who I am? We don't ever do who I am when it comes to being exceptionally outstanding. It is the most mediocre kind of approach to a matter and money. That is where you see us flexing power and trying to be relevant. That said, I also would say that at the end of the day, our kind of governance and the kind of politics we play, we don't do democracy in Nigeria as such. Let us even be honest. And if you look around the world, democracy is manifested differently in different regions based on their culture, even their value system. The Nigerian value system actually is about the minority ruling over the majority. And that is not democracy. But that is the cultural, philosophical, and ideological mindset of the typical Nigerian kind of that we play. And as a people, we want to understand that the reason why this is the way it is today, where we are seeing more of kind of ungovernable governance, right? Where violence, where constant attack of the halo chambers, and the rate at which even our halo chambers are being desecrated should leave us even more disturbed, right? Our local government councils are being desecrated. This should leave us more be very concerned. It means that what we have done is a society that's enabled agberoism. So agberoism is the way of life of our people for survival. And we cannot continue to allow agberoism mindset to take over how we do things.
And see the one that played out in Lagos State too.
Yes. And then this big man mentality, where we think that somebody has to be a big man. In other words, big man means you control everybody. No. Look at the King of England, for example. He's the biggest guy with the biggest stick, as it were, right? But they're not born and make it talk to parliament anyhow and insist his own way would be the right way or how it should be done. No. Because stand the power of distribution. You have to distribute power. You cannot be in a position where you feel that only your word, and that mentality we have, we see it in police. My God, it talk. My God, it talk. Is your God, it talk, for God's sake. He was elected into office, whoever that person is, and sometimes they are appointed. It does not give them absolute power. As Nigerians, we must query this kind of behavior and encourage our children.
Okay. All right. Finally, let's we've come home now to the Niger Delta, where the story is going to be that's the field of our story for today. We're looking at the Niger Delta, where we have virtually all the strength of the nation coming from, when we're talking about the financial strength, crude oil and all that. But it's a worrisome thing that when you go to the Niger Delta, you'll be surprised to see the way people are living. If you go to the riverine areas, you'll be so sad to see how people are living. You will see a river, beautiful river, look well on top of it. You see a thin film of oil on top of it. Practically all the water routes in the Niger Delta, that's how they are. But then you still find that this place, no electricity, the roads are rather bad. In my village, for instance, the major road that we had, there was the one that Ugbemudia did how many years ago, right? And schools, practically none. Okay, Jiro will tell us everything. May not be saying I mean they tell you now everything when they happen for the side. But before we talk about it, one Iroquois in the Niger Delta just went down. We're talking about the Pan Niger Delta Forum leader, Edwin Clark. He had been quite, vocal, talking about things that the country should be doing and doing right. He died at the age of 97 Monday night, and it was confirmed this Tuesday in a statement by a family representative, Professor C.C. Clark. He was a former federal commissioner. He was a prominent advocate for the Niger Delta region and also for the country as a whole. May he rest in peace. And not too long ago, Pa Ayo Adebanjo also passed on. He was 96 years old. He was last week, and Edwin Clark just took a bow at 97. Your thoughts, my guys? Joseph?
Yeah, for me, we that are still having opportunity or given the privilege to live, we should pick example from there that a day is coming when some of us say, "Do you know who I am?" and the rest of the time is coming. You don't. People are even asking you, okay, you are asking people, "Do you know who I am?" But now that you are lying down without your life with you, can you now explain to us who you are or who I am? So. And in our own little way, whatever we can do to contribute our quota to how the society can be better, how our nation can be better, how humanity can be better. I think we should continue to do that. And in doing that, for us to always speak the truth to, maybe I don't say those that are in power, those that are in position to address some issue. Let us always speak they know the truth anyway, but let us help them to re-emphasize the truth or re-echo the truth, for them to know that it is better they use that position to better the life of the citizen.
The people, not just their pockets. Ejiro?
Yeah, when I heard the news, we will all come and we will all go. His generation, people will pardon me, but you see, I am not in a very happy mood. So I was going to speak to something regarding this matter because I am at a place where I'm very pained. I'm from the Niger Delta, and it's a region I have fought for decades for when it comes to environmental protection, when it comes to development, when it comes to anti-removal of the militancy mindsets, and also the branding of the Niger Delta as very militant. I never liked branding by the news media organizations across Nigeria and even internationally. And for me, changing that narrative is very important. Pa Clark, first, let us commend him in the areas where he did his best. He was vocal. Let's give it to Pa Clark. He was vocal. But you see, let's also look at the other part that we expected his own generation to do that they did not do, because the reality is it is his generation, Obasanjo's generation, right? And the generation of what's his name now, former President Goodluck Jonathan. You see that three sets of generation. Look at the span of years I'm talking about now. these generations are the people who have put us where we are today. Nigeria is not progressive because what has happened is, for example, in the Niger Delta, we talked about the need for the recognition and the autonomy, as well as the capacity to control our resources in the Niger Delta, and we have a right to that. The fact that the Niger Delta was not allowed to control its own resources, despite that Oloibiri, okay, the village just before Oloibiri, because that's actually where the oil was found, not exactly in Oloibiri, but it is a village, a community, the name just went off my head now, that was where that oil well first discovered in Nigeria in 1956 was found in the Bayelsa State. Now, when that oil was found, Nigeria has bled the Niger Delta to death, such that even the pyramids of the granite that we used to know of the north, the textiles in the north that we used to know before that they were very productive people, the Irish potato that I love, that original one, mind you, the one of we eat today, the Irish potato we eat today, now Irish potato, not the original Irish potato, now GMO Irish potato. The original Irish potato we used to eat had this tangy, sweetness to it that makes your mouth like a sour.
When you drop it, when you put it on the ground, it can last for weeks. But these ones now, correct, how many days they don't die?
And we allowed our own northern Nigeria, middle belt that was known for yam and other kind of specialized food products, food crops, right? We allowed these people to go to sleep because everybody just focused on Niger Delta. The cocoa in the west, when you go to western Nigeria as we speak, cocoa was the #1 in Nigeria from all over the world. Now as we speak, they don't send us. All the cocoa building we're talking about that our late uncle did that time, right? That cocoa building, it came from the money of cocoa, the first tallest building ever in Africa at the time. Do you get what we're saying? Then if you look at the Benin Kingdom, as at the 1300s, when people from Lisbon came to Benin, we already had the most sophisticated first smart city in the world as at 1300s.
Yeah, that's very true. Over. Very true.
Good. So we had these kind of legacies as a people. How is it that in just under 60 years, I don't want to talk about the other 200 years plus of the invaders that came to rape and destroy, but let us also know that we too, we were the ones who showed the road to the invaders to come and destroy us.
Of course.
Until I take accountability that we all did it. I went to Badagry. When I saw the role the Obas played in selling their people, that was the day I died. You go to anywhere in Arochukwu, for example, what those people did to their own Igbo people, their own Igbo brother, you'll be shocked. The Oyo Empire, or rather, these days we are even quarreling whether it should be called Oyo Empire or just an Oyo Kingdom as it were at that time, in its own small way. So, but they gave that name to it to give it some significance. That period where that Oyo, as a big political organization, was trying to take over stuff, what were they doing to their own people in Yoruba land? They were selling them off too as well. Go to the Niger Delta. In Koko, they did the same thing. In Edo, they did the same thing. Right? We were all selling our brothers and sisters. And that mentality, that divide and rule, that betrayal mindset is what we see today in the Niger Delta and across. And that's why when we look at the likes of Pandef, we look at Ned, we look at Asari Dokubo, we look at all of these people who use militancy, which is something I fought against for many years. And I was the only lone voice at the time, as a matter of fact, who was speaking about against it, that look, you cannot use militancy, even though militancy was the most vocalized, powerful instrument that will, bring the federal government to its knees for just ignoring a region for so many years and exploiting it, destroying it, and there's nothing to show for it. The conversation here is that even with all of this that we have done in the Niger Delta, for example, that we have used all of this to gather the NDDC that we have gotten for ourselves, to get the Ministry of the Niger Delta that we have gotten. The reality on ground is the same way we were betraying our people and selling them off during slave trade. This is how we are also betraying our people and taking all the most meant for projects, but never doing anything.
Okay, hold on a while.
We are back to slavery 2.0.
Hold on, Ejiro.
We are back to slavery 2.0.
Okay, hold on a while. Slavery 2.0, this time in a very different format. We're going to look at that quickly. But there's something you said that reminded me of a part of history. When the Portuguese first came to the Benin Empire many years ago, what they wrote by themselves was that kingdom was so organized that the towns were planned, the roads were wide, and everything they had was very clean. On a time discovered around Mali, that part of it. You go to Eredo Kingdom, which is just between where after when you just come out of Ekpe a bit. Eredo Kingdom is somewhere there, which we by ourselves have not been able to go and really excavate and really study. That place had the widest courts. Story buildings were there. So when they're talking about first story building in Nigeria being in Badagry, just say modern, because Eredo Kingdom had story buildings in that Queen's Palace there already many years ago. But somehow we kill our own history. You go to our schools, they're not teaching the children history, and even if they want to start to do it properly, I'm looking forward to having people who know what they're doing recalibrate the history children are being taught. Nobody should be teaching our children Mungo Park anymore. That Mungo Park discovered what? River Niger. Landa Brothers did this. That Mary Slessor stopped the killing of twins and all that, when there were kings and so on who were already doing the right things, and how many people were even doing that thing they talked about. Our history should change, because we're not teaching our children the proper history. We've now come to this point where you just called slavery 2.0. Now let's start from this particular one on the ground. Well, using the Soko land as a case file, and a case just came up. A young guy called MC2 Kingdom, I think that is his name. Yes, he did a video, right, Joseph? He did a video, and in the video he had gone to a place called Ozoro, where there's supposed to be like not like to be a power plant that can feed the whole of that land with electricity. He did a video, and now some days later, I shared it with you now, Joseph. Yes. He was arrested, right, for doing that, for calling out the contractor in charge of that project. And let me pick the mind of Joseph a bit, Ejiro, before I come to you. When you saw that and you saw the follow-up, what came to your mind?
What came to my mind was the problem. All our problems are internal, because we are the one destroying ourselves. For example, when you talk of someone show a video, what the security agency, that if at all they involve themselves at all, if for them to not go and investigate if there was an allocation or money that have been deployed to actually do that thing, they will not start asking questions. But again, you know, as security agency, it's difficult for us to divorce ourselves for the colonial policing system that they give to protect the interests of the colonial master and their business interests. So now what they now do is they protect the interests of the politicians, those that are in authority, and the area that they want them to actually focus on. Sometimes when you see policing agency, whether DSS or all of them, say, oh, professionalism, you look at it, it is all politicians are actually driving their professionalism.
Yeah, money
it is money, promotion, promise promotion, juicy position, and they actually drive the. I do ask people, ladies, find out, why is it that anytime election is coming in Nigeria, if a CP is in Lagos, you now bring a CP for the purpose of the election. Technically, we are passing vote of no confidence on the police. That is the CP that have been there, working tirelessly to see how safety and security orderliness have been maintained in that very state. But it is instruction from, it's only from back, from politicians.
And you
tell me, say you are a professional.
So Ejiro, this particular one now, you just heard, he just described what these people did as law enforcement, that somebody was paying the piper, and that's how come the young man was arrested, brought from Lekki to Abuja, and for what? For a case that he's reporting on in Delta State. Now, from this scenario, Ejiro, can you now break down that slavery 2.0 that you just talked about?
So a police officer that is, one, hired by the civil service, paid through the taxpayers' money, right? Every salary he earns is the taxpayer that paid that police officer. So all of us in Nigeria, if you are buying any food product, whether in the market or whether inside one restaurant or inside one high class, whatever place you are, all the monies you are paying the federal government collects tax from all of them. Now, all of these tax are used to pay people like police officers. Then somebody will now come and tell a police officer, you, I have reduced you to a boy. You are my errand boy. If I call you and ask you to run or back, you will back. And this is what I'm going to give to you. But you are my errand boy. There is no slavery worse than that. Where a police officer who is duly appointed, right, employed, progressed and promoted in his office and enabled his survival through the public's contribution of tax through which he receives his salary, will now drop all of those beautiful blessings upon him and regard, right, and status, and turn himself into an errand boy because of kudi, ego, owo. How much is the money itself that you will collect? Okay, you will buy a land, you will buy a car, you will be in the favor of the politician who has brought you over. But what you are is actually an elevated errand boy.
Now, in the light of this, case, now that I gave a brief summary, of, in this particular light, 2.0 is still at play because there is a contract for electricity for a whole region. The contractor receives money and their project abandoned, because part of what we say we'll look at today, what is going on in the Niger Delta, whose fault is it? Is it the government or the Niger Deltans themselves or the people of Isoko land themselves? Because the person in charge of this particular project is not the government, it's not NDDC, it's a Delta.
Okay, fair enough question. So let's get down to it. MC Tūtins is his stage name. His real name is Ajiri Otoba. Now, Ajiri did this video raising alarm because if you see that project, it's a huge one. I went to Isoko land very recently when I was invited by the president of the Isoko Development Union. And when I went into Isoko land, I died, I cried, I wailed.
What's happened? How many times you don't die now? You die for Badagry. You stop dying, I beg. I need you alive.
I'm hoping that I will be. No, I'm not already. Lazarus has not happened to me yet.
I need you alive, not
so
die again.
Okay. Do you know that Isoko is a place with so much land, so much food crops, trees of all kinds you can see? But do you know there was not a single place where you could see 24-hour powered lights? What I saw was a litany. There are a few places where there are powered lights here and there scattered, in clusters. But what you will not find is the industrialization that you expect from a gas oil-rich environment. You will see roads. If you see the ditches that I saw, I am shocked. Now, in the recent budget that the Delta State government actually approved, a budget that ran into God knows how many billions. In fact, let me even bring out that data regarding that. There were over 250-something billion, 275 billion as at the 2025 Executive Council approved budget for 76 projects that will span different sectors across the senatorial district of the state. When you go through it, there is not one area that attends to the Isoko region. So that the cry that MC Two Kingdom reacted to is a reality. In other words, the members of representatives in Delta State, that is the Isoko members who are representing Isoko, right, in the House of Assembly constituency, the four constituencies that we have. We have Isoko North, is represented by Bernard Odio. Isoko South by Bino Obowomano. Isoko South 2 by Ferguson Owo. Now you have these three important constituencies. A budget of 275 billion was passed, and not a reflection of your own people in the budget, in capital projects, and other kinds of projects you can think of. So that tells you something, that what we have as representatives of Isoko people are persons who have just been handpicked, right, to be in that position, even though we claim that election happened. These were people who were foisted on the people, and the majority of people who actually went to vote are actually members of political parties, and very few individuals who are, maybe not party affiliated, but also love their party. They went out to vote, and who are also probably conscious about voting as their right and their duty, and they went out to vote. Now, they voted these persons into positions of responsibility, accountability, and project development of their people. And yet, a 2025 budget of 275 billion does not reflect these people. That is one side. So we are having a case where those who represent the interests of the so-called nation do not know how to lobby, do not know how to fight, do not know how to speak up, do not know how to stand for, do not know what it takes, or even know what their job is in the Delta State House of Assembly.
Like, how many oil wells do they have in this region? How many oil wells?
In fact, you just read my mind. I was going to go into that. Now, Isoko as a whole, right, has so many oil wells. It's insane how much oil wells that we have. It's remarkable that for a long time, we as a people, we don't understand. Now, Lɪਧᴇ Media, the organization I work with, we did an investigation into this matter. And we discovered that the oil wells and fields in Isoko are quite a lot. In Uzere alone, there are 2 oil well fields with 43 oil well heads. In Ole, there are 22 oil wells. In Olomoro, 17 oil wells. In Emede, 4 oil wells. In Owe, 9 oil wells. Ibide, 8. Okoloewe, 6. Ozoro, more than 20 oil wells. Elu Ovrode, 10 oil wells. Ofagbe, 4 oil wells. Now, in Isoko Deep, the block has 8 producing fields of at least 395,000 barrels per day.
Are you seeing? And such a place has abandoned projects up and down, and one is wondering, whose fault is this actually? Because I'll take you back to that power plant now, where a Deltan is the one in charge of it. It is abandoned. Somebody called attention to it, and they arrest the person. So do we blame the government for that now?
So we're already identifying one key players. The House of Representative members are first the problem of Isoko in the House of Assembly in Delta State first. We've identified that. They are not standing for the Isoko people. Then 2, the idea that NDDC gives projects, because do you know that if we look at the timeline between 19 years from 2000 and 2020, right? Or thereabout, 2001 to 2020. The NDDC alone has received over 833 billion in 19 years. This year alone, President Tinubu approved 1.1 trillion, right, for the NDDC to tackle the Niger Delta. Now, the last NDDC forensic audit, we remember when Akpabio was the one in charge, how he was able to expose that many of the contractors, what has happened is this. So you are having Shell contracts. What I mean Shell, I don't mean Shell as the oil multinational. I mean contracts that are just, they are pretenders. So you see somebody within the Niger Delta Ministry, whether they are from the north, or from Yoruba land, or from Igbo land, or from Isoko land, or from, name it, whatever they are from, whether even from Ibibio, it doesn't matter. What has now happened is this. In the Niger Delta, when a contract is budgeted into the budget, right? What happens is members of the NDDC now who are in charge of that engineering, especially engineering projects, right? They have a system where they now work with certain engineers who they have known over time know how to do what they call the handshake. The handshake means, I give you this job, you will get this contract. But what will happen is, you will not make sure this job is done. But you will bring this money back to us.
For real?
Yes, I did an investigation in that regard. I did. And what I found out was that part of the problem is that members of the monitoring team of the NDDC, because you actually have a planning and programming and monitoring team in NDDC. It's a building I have been a number of times. I have been there, not today. When they launched it, I was there. When it started, I was there. So it's not today's matter we're talking about. Now you go to that office. Do you know that many of them, what they do is, the monitors, right, who go out there to go and verify a claim by a contractor that a job has started, it is midway or already done. What they do is this. They see what's on ground, but the contractor meets them, and then they proffer different kinds of pictures that shows that opposite of what is on ground. And then these monitors go back to the NDTC to say, okay, look, this thing has been done. Why? Because a handshake has happened. When Akpabio, who is now current Senate president, took over that auditing process, you saw the expose that came out.
That was why they were offering the mic, Abby.
Yes, off the mic, you remember. How do we off the mic? How do we allow offing of the mic, for God's sake? And we laughed as Nigerians, as stupid as we can get. Sorry to say, but that's what we are. We are just laughing jackass. We just laugh at the most. The thing we should not laugh at is what we laugh at. And we condone it and we enable it. That matter ended there like that. Do you understand? Yes. So what we're also having in Nigeria is this. We're having a situation where, okay, the ugliness is unearthed, but what are the consequences? So some people actually sent money back. EFCC collected money back for some people. What happened to those money that EFCC collected? How do we account for those?
So that's why we have so many abandoned projects everywhere. Handshakes have gone under.
Correct. So I know of a contractor in NDDC who has also been an Isoko person and Urobo, as a matter of fact. Over the years, if I tell you how much billions alone that contractor has gotten in the Niger Delta, go and look at all the contracts that he has done. Nothing to write home about, nothing to show for anything. And yet, the people who know this, they keep silent. So silence is also part of our problem.
So the people are also at fault.
Yes. When you say the people who know that they are keeping silent, you have been advocating for us not to keep silent. The guy who did not keep silent shows some video, you know, his freedom is now on the line. Do you continue to blame people, or those who have the constitutional power say, okay, the law enforcement agency, the EFCC of this world, the police of this world, that, oh, Joseph exposed a particular information. Instead of them to say, okay, Joseph, take small water to drink for you even voicing this thing out. It is me that now say, okay, the water I'm even buying to drink, they will stop it and stop my freedom. Are they not part of some of this conspiracy that those are supposed to solve a problem? They are not the one that is helping people that are actually pressing us down. Then what do you think we can do for us to ask these people to let us breathe?
Now, that's the issue of the whistleblowers now. Whistleblowers now being the ones being blown.
Okay, so in his case, I was very involved with Tğᴇ Rᴇᴄᴜ release. I know.
Have they released him now?
Behind the scenes.
Have they released him?
Released. Released. I announced it even before he was released that he was going to be released. I put it on my Facebook page. I said he is going to be released. That was like almost 48 hours ago, and he has been released. So where am I going with this conversation? That guy's story is a story of how, if you're a whistleblower, right, people will stand up for you. This is the Nigeria I know. I grew up in that Nigeria where we do not tolerate evil. I don't know how many of you experienced this. I had an instance once. That was when I had the opportunity, when my father finally allowed me to go on a public bus, right, because he was quite protective of us. I went on this bus in Lagos, and then there was this guy, this conductor who was talking very rude to a young man in the bus. And everybody went after the conductor, and the conductor apologized. When I was now coming back, I experienced a similar incident where a person in the bus was talking rudely to the driver, calling him names, and everybody shut that guy down and said, "You are being disrespectful. A driver is a human being, and he's doing an honest, decent work. There's dignity in labor." The guy apologized instantly. Today, what do we see in Nigerian buses? You will see somebody raising an issue in a bus. What happens? Everybody keeps silent. You will see somebody doing public prayer, public nuisance to everybody else. You will see them disturbing people for the next 1 hour in a journey. What do other people do? And I pray, and I could just allow him. Now God will listen. Excuse me, in a public place. All of us not pray to go and come and pray for safety. Are you the messenger that was sent to come and pray for the rest of us? And you disturb everybody's peace in the bus? But we will now say, no, now, it's a religious thing. We become sentimental in the wrong sense. So where we are going to, in a country like this, what Tğᴇ has done is that he has spoken. And the right people will also begin to come out. Because let us face the reality. What social media is doing for us is that it has given us voices. We cannot be silent. Even as Trump is doing anyhow, see, Americans are not keeping quiet. So you who keep quiet and you are hoping that, look, and I think this is where we must go to, and this is how I live my life. I have lived my life like, look, it doesn't matter because the guy will go die, you go die. So if you want to die, die for something. When you know, say you happy, say you die for. It no matter whether people clap for you or not, it's not relevant. That's where we must get our mindset to shift to know that back in the day, you could not do bad and get away with it. Now we are having Yahoo Mothers Association and fathers who are buying computers for their sons to do Yahoo. What happened to us? And yet nobody condemns that outrightly. You are seeing people beginning to mutate into something else in the world. And what do Nigerians feed on? That's what Nigerians feed. That's what Nigerians amplify.
But you know,
amplify the guy who is producing something in the country.
Ejiro, you know, so what I think is when we see cases like the ones you mentioned, people having NDDC contracts and such contracts, and after handshake, nothing is done. A project is abandoned. There is a whistleblowing going on. You arrest the whistleblower. It now looks as if that commit the crime, you will get away with it. And so the young people are seeing all this and they are doing their own share of the committing. Now that Ejiro has been released, Ajiri has been released, what happens to the case? Are the people just going to allow it to die down like that? Or are they going to make sure?
It is not dying. We're on top of the matter. We're on top of the matter. Because the reality was that before Ajiri actually raised this issue, right? Let us even give kudos to Senator Joel Onuapo, who is representing the Delta South constituency, which includes the Shekiris, the Jos, and the Sokos. He was on top of it. And I also commend the IDU president, Professor Akutu. I must commend them because I know the effort I made to see how much we can rally around, reaching out to everybody, talking to everybody. That's why I was very sure that that young man was going to be released long before even anybody knew he was going to be released, because we were committed to that. So where I'm going to is this. The senator had actually called this particular contractor, right, Matthew Edebe, at the time, and said, come, we need to have a conversation on this matter, because the senator, one of his first steps when he went into office was that they made an announcement. This is, see where I'm going to now. You see what's ironic about all of us? This senator, through his various platforms, right, announced that every Isoko person should please send data, information, either on his Facebook page or social media, or directly to an essay in charge of monitoring projects in Isoko land or in the entire South. Let us know what projects have been abandoned. We want to look into all abandoned projects. Do you know people now answer?
And because they don't want me to arrest them too, that's true.
No. You see, that is so wrong. Who won't arrest you? A senator says, give us data. Why would you say they want to arrest you? No, they will not arrest you. Why? Because we have come to a point. We keep saying they will arrest us, and what has happened? Because we are allowing the fear that they hope we have to hold us down, they get away with doing even more. So let us understand that this is a game that is happening. It's a political game. It's a game of power. It's a game of control. So you must write. This one that this guy eventually did, are we not seeing the result of it? Right now, the man don't know saying, oh, don't cast. So right now, everybody is sitting down and saying, we're going to look into this matter. And they are already looking into the matter. And that money, you see that, what do you call it, that substation, it will come to life because it has to work. And it's for the public good. So now that this has already happened, you would expect, now, this is where I'm going to, you would expect Nigerians now, Isoko people in the area, and the Delta South people, which includes the Shekiris and the other job-seeking people, to now say they want to reach out to a senator like this who has shown an open hand to say we will tackle this thing. Because the senator actually went out of his way to make sure that this guy was freed. Do you know what I'm trying to say? That is the man showing you his hand. He is protecting the whistleblower. What other indicator do you need? So you as a person, the next thing you're supposed to do is to make sure that you also do what? Blow your own, because this is the tide. This is the moment. Scatter everywhere. That's what you're supposed to do. That's why you're supposed to be this game well. When they see that something has taken off, it becomes a trend. Everybody use that opportunity to ride on the trend, and then a lot of things can be done. But what happens to us? Are you seeing how people went silent? Instead of getting the value of how important it was that within how many few days this guy was released, within how many few days the senator has taken a position, within how many few days IDU Circle Development Union is saying that, look, this is what we have been looking for to galvanize us. What have the people done? They have withdrawn. How do you withdraw when the battle is just about to begin?
You know what, Tģᴇ, we're going to have a part 2 of this where we'll do a follow-up on this matter. Let's see how many projects have started picking up, what people are doing, and also would like you to, in your own region, we just use the Niger Delta and Isoko land as a sample to show you what's going on and the number of abandoned projects we have everywhere, especially in the Niger Delta, and the fact that the people themselves are responsible for some of the challenges that they are going through. We're not talking of politicians now. A lot of the so-called contractors, who maybe themselves are politicians, responsible for the abandoned projects we have everywhere. Are your people calling out these? I call them, they're like criminal elements. Are your people doing anything? This session is to encourage you to also speak up for your own region. Maybe tomorrow, take note of your own region. Any abandoned projects, maybe tomorrow on this program, you call to and just expose them and talk about them. If you know the contractor and you have proof, you can mention it. That will be tomorrow. The time is up. Maybe we can take
so
2.
Quickly, I don't know. Sorry, Cordilla. I'm sorry, Lady C. For those who are listening in, let me just give them my social media handle because that's my job. My job is to, if you're afraid not to send the information to the politicians, give it to me. My job is I collect data and I take action on them. I know what to do with the information. So let them follow me on my social media at Lady E Umukoro. It's one word, Lady E, LADYE UMUKORO. Lady E Umukoro Nigeria on social media. Once they follow me, they can drop anything either on DM or straight on my page.
Right.
I will take the necessary action. At least people sacrifice this one. We're not saying what we want to wait God give us to.
Tģᴇ, thank you very much. The line has been buzzing. We'll take 1 or 2 calls if possible before we sign off. But Tģᴇ, thank you so much for your time. And we'll talk again about this matter and the follow-up. Thank you very much. All right. Tģᴇ Mukoro, thank you. Tģᴇ Mukoro joined us from Abuja, and you are on the line now. Sorry, I had to have a logical conclusion. Hello, good morning. Did it drop? Hello?
Yeah, good morning. This is Tᴚɪᴛᴛᴇʀ Mdzo.
Welcome, Triple A. Go ahead. You have 30 seconds. Amen. No, you go speak. You go speak English.
What? Yes, I'm going to English now. It is, I thank God that Tģᴇ Rᴇᴄ has been released. Because I have been on Facebook on it, that he must be released. And that man, that Matthew, if he is not dealt with, that means he is like caucus with these people who are going to look at his case. Because, in Delta and Isoko, most of them have gone into occultic. So when they are doing things, they are so confident that nothing will happen to them.
All right, time
out.
out.
God will fight our battle for us. God bless Isoko and Nigeria.
Thank you. Today is your time. Enjoy it. Hello, how are you?
Hello, Sister Cody.
Good morning.
We go talk.
Okay. Your name?
My name is Lucky.
All right, go ahead.
So, Kobu.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm so happy that I'm able to call my sister that call. One thing, this man play one music, Arube, what that time. And I'm lawyer. Lawyer to who? Now they say our money, now I see the lawyer for Isoko, whatever. So what did it go there? See what my sister just talking. How many oil where we get in Isoko? No light, nothing is working there. All of them, they will show their affair. How many companies they get? They don't get any company, but now they get money pass.
All right, 30 seconds.
We are going to follow this. Attack my sister. I will look for the handle so that we'll follow him. We'll follow her.
All right, thank you so much. Hello, how are you? Hello, Talo Soro. Hello. Hello, good morning. How are you?
Yeah, John from Oba.
Welcome, John. Go ahead. 30 seconds.
Yes, I think very good topic, very good deliberation there. And that's what Chomale talk about our goals being carted away in the north, and that the forces which the federal government deployed in tackling the oil theft in the south here. Why are they not apply that same force in tackling those that are catching our gold away? Are you hearing me?
I hear you.
So I don't know what is wrong with we Nigerians. And we had that for a president in the caliber of Sᴏᴜ to have expressed that publicly in the house. And we are not taking action. I don't know what else we will take action on. Good morning.
All right. Good morning, sir. You timed it well. Thank you. Hello, how are you? Okay. We've tried. Let's see. Joseph, not be small. Did you hear the number of oil wells we have?
No be small. Now get money. Why you can't do for Lagos?
My brother, road. No.
I say take one. Take one of the area. Make a be your PA now.
Go check the names of the people when you get those oil wells. Okay. Whether you say okay, net boy inside. Hello, how are you?
Lady C, my sister, lovely sister. This is Maggie Odibo.
Oh, nice to hear from me. I don't miss you. Look at that. All right, we have 30 seconds.
I give kudos to that lady. This is the kind of people we want. Yes, in our society. And also, if the people that perpetrate all this evil are not brought to book and punished for it, the whistleblowers have said something, but what has happened to the people that are perpetrating it? They go scot-free. This is where the cause of the matter is. If they are being punished, then we will be happy that, okay, we have said it out, and something has been done about it, and the person that has done it has been punished for it.
All right.
That's my own take, my darling.
Thank you. I miss you. Welcome. Thank you. All right. Last one. Hello, how are you? Okay. And you know, if the whistleblower says that the person has been released, you go to fear now.
Good morning.
Okay. Good morning. Okay, welcome. How are you?
Yeah, very good night. This is Mr. Patrick calling from Ojo.
Welcome. In fact, now 10 seconds remain. Joseph, they hail you now.
Hey, good morning, sir.
These are freedom fighters we have.
And Luther continue. Victoria no go suffer. Umokoro. Ejiro Umokoro.
Lady D, Umokoro,
Lady Ejiro Umokoro.
I'm not hearing you well.
Okay, listen via the radio. It is Ejiro Umokoro. So Lady E Umokoro. A, B, C, D, E. Lady E Umokoro. But now here we go stop on for today. We're going to be back tomorrow. We'll take part of this topic. Get projects ready that you know they are pending. Share with us and we'll blow the whistle on your behalf. Joseph.
As you get those projects ready, Lady C, it's time for us to be prosecuting the person who is prosecuting the guy who blow whistle, because why they do keep them is just go and look at the charge sheet, what they are charging him for. Yes. It will be different from what he actually did. Okay. And that's why some of them, they are not helping us. Thank all of us, they suffer together.
Okay, Jaden will beat me and you now. Time's up. I'm Cordelia. I'm Cordelia Lady C. I'll be seeing you tomorrow again at 10. Make sure you're part of it. Jaden, Lady Mo, thank you all very much.
You're listening to Mainland 98.3 FM.